A more stationary city institution, the century-old Belvedere Hotel, is causing more problems for the city. A group of banks holding the first mortgage has sued Baltimore to collect $1.7 million in loans guarantees that the city made 11 years ago. Mayor Kurt Schmoke is not happy about all this. He was hoping the effort to reorganize the hotel's financial situation would help prevent this latest move by creditors. Schmoke says the hotel's principal owner, Victor Frankel, has not helped those negotiating to move quickly, and so the city has not paid fees owed Frankel for property it leases from him and construction his firm performed in order to get more action on the hotel refinancing.
The businesses weren't major conglomerates making millions. These were family-owned places serving a close-knit area. Customers who could walk from their homes to these stores stood on the sidewalk today blaming Mother Nature. But fire officials say the vicious lightning was not responsible as their investigation continues. Smoke just flowed last night freely from Guzman's Pizza Shop, Beads Plus Confectionery Store, and a card shop. Another store that was about to be rented also went up in smoke.
I got in here around 10 o'clock, and there was already smoke and fire, and I just looked at my store, and everything was already gone.
The fire completely gutted the entire structures, which were ordered to be bulldozed for fear that the buildings would come crashing down onto Eastern Avenue.
The fire marshal calls me and he says, "Your place is on fire," and all I could remember was, "Is my place okay?" I drove down here and with my father, and all I could see was flames. The whole place was destroyed.
The businesses in this block were here for just a short time.
I just feel real bad for, for all these people that we had the orders for, and it's like you try to build, the business, just like a baby, and, the store was really pretty, really nice, and we had the store full of orders and everything.
It was a dream for both the DeFada and Guzman families to open a business here in Highland Town. Today they stood on the curbs and watched as their dream crumbled to the ground. Will they start anew? Right now they have no idea. Here in Highland Town, Jamie Costello, Channel 2 News.
For Dr. Samuel Banks, the new school year brings with it a new title and new responsibilities. Formerly the supervisor of the Office of Social Studies for Baltimore City Schools, he's now the newly appointed Director of Instruction. What are the new challenges for you this time around?
Well, it's a marvelous opportunity because I'll have the opportunity with staff to give leadership and direction in terms of instruction in all subject areas, and to challenge and to provide intellectually motivating and challenging opportunity for all students. So I welcome this opportunity.
For Dr. L.Z. Gladden, the work is never done. Dunbar is a community-based school which operates year-round and around the clock. Now, besides being the first doctorate graduate from Morgan State University, we talked about some of the other accomplishments he's proud of.
I am proud of several things, and maybe returning here as its principal, that made me very proud. Some other things I'm sure that I've done that I'm happy about. I'm happy about my Teenage Pregnancy Symposium that I just completed doing the research work on that, and I'm very pleased with the result. In fact, the information there indicate that today's teenagers are nowhere near as bad as one would think.
Listen to the voices of maturity, reason, and education as both men talk to those young people who may be contemplating dropping out of school.
It's very simple. Education in our society is the passport to success. If you want to travel abroad, you need the passport. Without it, you don't leave this country. If you want to make it in the American body politic, you have to have the passport. And the key, Mr. Stovall, is to get that message over to our young people, particularly urban and minority, black, Hispanic youngsters who are left out of the mainstream of American society.
Do you want to be a dropout, and what are the consequences of dropping out of school? And for many of them, they say, well, I'm poor, I don't have this, I don't have that. Then I talk about the dream that is deferred. And that's what we generally do. We have, according to statistics, we have one of the lowest dropout rates of any urban high school.
Now, other educators being honored at this Thursday's AFRAM 89 luncheon include Benjamin Quarles. He's a retired Morgan State University professor, and he's well known for his writing on African American history. Dr. Boyce Mosley, he's been with the city school system for 21 years now, and he's known for putting education before athletics as principal at Lake Clifton and now as principal at Northwestern Senior High School. And Dr. Pearl Brackett, she was instrumental in the development of community schools. At the time of her retirement, Dr. Brackett was the assistant superintendent for community schools. And Beverly, as you know, Our centennial celebration of the Johns Hopkins Medical Institutions continues tonight with another look at some unsung heroes. HealthCast reporter Dr. Donna Willis takes a look at the people who keep Hopkins clean and fresh.
I've been here for 41 years, and I think my job is very important. Trying to keep the patients happy, talk to them, speak to them when I go in the morning, keep the room clean, see that they have necessary supplies, and, you know, just things in general.
Sarah Simmons is one of the army of workers at Hopkins who keeps the place clean and comfortable. The task is monumental. During the course of a year, more than 6,000 gallons of wax are used to polish the hospital's floors. 7.4 million pieces of linen are distributed in the hospital each year. And each month, the wash includes over 48,000 bath towels, more than 55,000 washcloths, and over 56,000 sheets. Despite the hundreds of people involved in housekeeping, it's kind of an invisible job. You only notice it only if the job isn't done. But somehow it does get done through a process that's part of the daily rhythm of hospital life. Dr. Donna Willis, Channel 2 News.
Back here at home tonight, an undercover police officer remains in shock trauma after being shot in the chest. Now, Officer Vincent Moore was chasing two suspects who were on bicycles at the time down Greenmount Avenue last night. One of those suspects turned and fired at Officer Moore. Police did arrest one of the suspects, 25-year-old John Brittingham, late this afternoon.
His name surfaced this morning as homicide detectives went out looking for who shot Officer Moore. And after about 9 hours of search, they were able to contact him indirectly and learn that he would surrender himself, which he did at 405 at Barclay and 25th Street. He was then taken down to the homicide unit. He's charged with assault with intent to murder Officer Moore and a handgun violation.
The second suspect, 26-year-old Charles Bradshaw, remains at large tonight. If you have information on his whereabouts, you're asked to please call Baltimore City Police. The phone number is 396-2100. Meanwhile, two robbery suspects got more than they bargained for after holding up an Arrow cab driver in northwest Baltimore. The cabbie, Richard Layton, was armed with a gun, and he shot both suspects. Both were taken to Sinai Hospital. One of the suspects is a juvenile. He's been charged with attempted robbery, assault, and a handgun violation. The other suspect has not been charged yet. No charges have been filed against the cab driver because he has a permit to carry a gun.
Vernon's Lounge at Poplar Grove in Belmont is one example used by opponents who argue against the 7-day proposal. They say Sunday sales have already created a problem in this neighborhood. Vernon's was originally granted a 7-day tavern license, but has become more of a package store operation. People who live in the neighborhood don't want the store to be granted a 7-day license to sell liquor.
We only asked them for that 1 day close up Sunday, so we could at least enjoy sitting on our porch. It's summer, and when they get to arguing, we got to go because they shoot our shit like mad.
The proposal would have no effect on 6-day licenses.
This proposal does not involve any additional hours or days of operation, nor does it allow any additional services that aren't already legally allowed and licensed to operate.
The proposal faces a lot of opposition at City Hall.
I don't support this at the moment. I want to be fair and listen, but we have so many problems with packaged goods stores, and to have them 7 days a week without any other requirements is something I think at this time that is not for the well-being of the city.
What happens is that when they purchase packaged goods, they go out to the community, they stand around, they loiter, they urinate in the streets, and they create a trash problem and a drug problem. And all these things are just, they're not tolerable to our people, and we feel, particularly on Sunday, that it has no place in the community.
Jin Kang is now trying to sell Vernon's place. He says the prospective buyer isn't interested in it without the 7-day license.
They don't want it. If Sunday's closed down, he's not going to buy.
Kang says Sunday sales account for 30% of his business. Residents say Kang's loss would mean at least one quiet day for them. In West Baltimore, Sam Ringgold, Channel 2 News.
This is a site that has come to mean a lot to the homeless and disadvantaged in Baltimore. Nutritious hot meals 7 days a week, 365 days a year at Our Daily Bread, a soup kitchen that has served more than 1.5 million meals in the past 9 years.
I would say that it's a necessity right now. It's not even in terms of what it means to people, but how they depend on us. Just have a basic right, such as food, met for them each day.
The meals and the faces of more than 4,000 volunteers are the same, but the location is new. Last week, the soup kitchen moved from its original location on Franklin Street because plans are in the works to build a 5-story parking garage here with a brand new soup kitchen built right into the garage. So temporarily, Our Daily Bread has moved 2 blocks west to 200 West Franklin Street.
This is definitely a temporary facility. It was built that way, and it's being realized that way as we settle in each day. So it'll be good to go back to a facility that we know is our home.
But by the best estimates, the new soup kitchen is at least 1.5 years away. And in the meantime, meals will be served here 7 days a week until the new soup kitchen is finished. In West Baltimore, Randy Page, Channel 2 News.
News tonight, a 29-year-old West Baltimore woman has been charged with shaking her infant son to death. Police have charged Deborah Sorrell with first-degree murder in the death of her 1.5-month-old son, DeAndre.
I know her to be a very loving mother. I know her to take care of her children. There's another child within this home here. She takes very good care of that child as well.
I wasn't shocked because I, could tell by the kind of mother she was that the baby wasn't going to be here too long. She wasn't feeding it in the kind of room that she kept it in. I mean, it's sad, though.
Little DeAndre had been shaken so badly that he was in full cardiac arrest when paramedics rushed him to University Hospital. He died Saturday night after several hours on life support systems.
I think most middle-income people walk by the homeless in doorways, walk by them at bus stops, at subways, and really never see these people. They become almost invisible, and what I'm trying to do is to put them into the framework of a painting where they can be seen.
Opening the eyes of those who have to the hurt and hopelessness of those who are in need. An idealistic goal? Perhaps. But it has become a mission that Frank Russell relentlessly pursues. A textile designer and salesman by trade, he uses what he calls his God-given gift to capture on canvas or paper the plight of the homeless.
Now, we know you're better looking than that.
I think Frank and I look at human beings as the human family, if that's not too trite. And these are people. These are human beings. They're human beings in a great deal of pain.
Frank's wife, Betty, has felt that pain, the pain that fills the faces of the men and women Frank paints. Several years ago, while researching her doctoral thesis, Betty lived for several days on the streets and in the shelters with the homeless. She tells of the story of a woman at a downtown shelter who captured her attention.
When I asked Sister Pat, who at that time was running my sister's place, who this woman was, she told me that her name was Betty and that she had been a Baltimore City school teacher. And my name's Betty, and I am a Baltimore County school teacher. And I just felt that here was me, maybe.
Suddenly, what started as sympathy turned to compassion.
And once a week, for the past 4 years, when the weather gets cold, Frank and Betty have taken their compassion to the streets, to the people in need, the people they feel compelled to help. They share their love out of this truck.
Every Friday night, Frank helps load up the Salvation Army mobile canteen, and he and Betty and the other volunteers go out to the back roads and forgotten corners of our city.
I go to Central Avenue and then make a right turn, and we'll be parked about a block away from the rescue mission.
How you doing?
How you doing? How are you tonight?
All right.
Good.
Deal?
Yourself something to eat?
Yes, sir.
Help yourself.
I think with the men on the streets, that's what it is. With the people on the streets, you give them something very simple. And what you get back is their gratitude, which is a form of love. I had to put a drop of cream in it. I hope that's all right. Here's a star. And we got you a couple of sugars. You put in whatever you want, okay? Take care of yourself, Michael.
To Frank, these men and women are not nameless subjects for his next piece of art, but they have become his family and friends. He has dedicated his life to helping them and loving them.
Here you go. Here's your blanket. Good man. Take care of yourself.
Okay, you too. What is Frank Russell? You might call him a street artist who traces the souls and feeds the bodies of those who have made the street their home. His wife, Betty, the teacher who has learned from these streets how vitally important it is for those who have to give.
There you go.
And every year, Frank and Betty take a piece of Frank's artwork and turn it into a holiday card, and they send it out to friends and business associates. This one right here is a picture of a woman that they met in one of the shelters, one of the soup kitchens, actually. And it reads on the inside, "We boast of vast achievements in the power of human progress, knowledge, defeat of strange new marvels every day and every hour." And here's the bread line in the wintry street, and goes on to say, "May our spirit of giving continue throughout the year so we may end homelessness in America." And they send this out to their friends, and they said they've gotten a response, raising the consciousness of people.
Yeah, they might want to market those. I mean,
yeah,
those are nice cards.
What do the Russells want the public to understand and to do?
Well, really, they just want to bring consciousness to people who do have, that they should give what they have to people who don't. And that's why Frank does the work, the artwork, and that's why Betty goes and speaks to civic organizations and to schools about the plight of the homeless. Just raising that consciousness.
Who are you going to introduce us to tomorrow?
A friend of yours, Harlow Forward, the Kentucky Fried Chicken man in town, who's a real big philanthropist. We'll talk
He
to
does
him
get
tomorrow.
involved.
Yeah,
Looking forward to that. Thank you very much,
okay.
Horace. We hope that you will decide to give to others, giving thanks, this holiday week especially. You can help feed thousands of hungry people by filling bags of plenty. Now, the time is running out, to be honest. We want you to give canned or boxed food items as a donation to the Bags of Plenty campaign. Channel 2 is proud to be a sponsor of Bags of Plenty, and we really hope that you will help. So many hungry families will have a Thanksgiving to remember. The drop-off points include many area giant food stores, Provident Bank, or Baltimore City fire stations.
Getting drugs off the streets of Baltimore is a long and tedious process, but an undercover operation has ended with another bust. It happened today. This time, Eastern District Police raided a row house on North Rose Street. Officials seized a half a pound of cocaine. It's valued at $20,000 on the street, along with $600 in cash and also some ammunition. 4 people were arrested. Only 1 is reportedly from the Baltimore area. The 4 are being charged with possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. The bust comes after a week of undercover investigation work into the alleged drug ring.
The call was for a seizure. This woman had passed out on the street. When paramedics arrived, she told them she was feeling better and asked if she could be taken home. The answer was no.
Why not? Because that's not our job.
She was told she could only be taken to the hospital, a ride which after tomorrow will no longer be a free one. The fee will be $75 for basic ambulance service and $100 for advanced life support.
I think it's a lot of people's not going to be able to pay for this ambulance service, especially older people and people that don't have insurance.
I just heard, and I think it's outrageous.
With only 16 medic units, Baltimore's paramedics are among the busiest in the country. The fees will be used to buy additional ambulances, easing paramedics' workload and increasing response time.
It's a heavy load on the paramedics running that much, so we're putting in the 2 new units to relieve somewhat the load.
But while no one will be refused service, Mayor Schmoke says those who can afford to pay will be expected to.
So, yes, we will go after the insurance company. We will go after individuals to collect the fee.
While the mayor hopes the fees will cut down on abuse of the system, he doesn't want it to discourage people from calling who need ambulance service. In the meantime, the city is passing out this pamphlet to let everyone know the days of free ambulance rides are over. Sam Ringgold, Channel 2 News.
Charlie Howell never knew what hit him. That's not the way death is supposed to come to a boy who had his whole life planned. Howell was just 18 when he died suddenly last Thursday from a form of meningitis. Though he showed promise as a football player at Bucknell, he was headed for a career as an engineer. Today in Claremont, just spitting distance from his childhood haunts, Charlie made one last appearance. He was joined by former teachers and classmates from Baltimore's Polytechnic Institute. They described Howell as intelligent, mature beyond his years, and a good friend.
It took time to help anybody out. I guess anybody in his class that was having trouble with work, at schoolwork, you know, he would take the time, if he understood it, to help him. He was a very good student and good athlete. Played lacrosse and football, and I knew him from 10th grade, same wrestling team, and he was a good wrestler too.
In a recent letter to Poly coach Augie Weibel, Bucknell's football staff described Charlie Howell as a solid player and said they looked forward to nothing but good things from him.
1 week ago, 20-year-old Charlene Harden was reported missing by her parents. Today, her parents had the terrible task of identifying her body. Last night, police found Harden's nude and frozen body inside a rundown Kirkfield locker room. And authorities say it appears she was beaten to death.
She went to school. She kept her grades up. Her parents was very nice. They treated her very well. She was always home. You know, I was very shocked to hear about her, you know, passing away like this.
Police say her body had been there for several days. They also say they have no suspects tonight. They continue their search for clues. If you have any information on this case, please call the Metro Crime Stoppers. Their hotline number is 276-8888. You can remain anonymous. You can also earn a reward if your information leads to an arrest. A Baltimore City police officer remains in fair but stable condition tonight after being grazed in the head by a bullet. 54-year-old James Larkin was injured last night when he and other officers surrounded a stolen Jeep in East Baltimore. Now, police say Larkin's gun accidentally went off during the incident. Another officer thought the suspects had opened fire, so she fired her own gun twice. One of those bullets apparently hit Officer Larkin. Correctional officers in Maryland may take the state to court over the suspension of 13 Maryland Penn guards and the dismissal and demotion of 2 others. This disciplinary action was taken after 2 escape attempts at the prison last month. At a news conference today, representatives of the Teamsters Union and 2 other unions announced they're negotiating with prison administration to get all the officers reinstated.
All 3 unions will be filing exceptions, and after the exceptions are filed, there will be a hearing which will basically be held approximately January the 10th, and after the hearing is held, a decision will be rendered after approximately January the 15th. After that, there have been serious discussions by the unions as to asking for a court injunction to put the employees back to work and or in going to the governor to intervene.
Union representatives claim the guards reported security problems at the prison, but that administrators did nothing about them.
Ken Shell's Carver squad, that's the brother of Art Shell, at Lake Clifton today for the B Conference Division II title. And the Lakers, Sam Jones going to grab this one. This is your play of the day. He has gone up the far sideline, 65 yards for the touchdown. Lake Clifton, an 18-0 winner. The Lakers win the B Conference Division II title. So congratulations to the Lake Clifton Lakers as they win the title.